What's up, guys? Welcome back to WCS America. Hopefully you're having a great Tuesday evening. Of course, we're in the last match of the round 2 of the bracket stage. Round 3 of the bracket stage, of course, where the winners advance to the Premier League of Season 2 will be happening tomorrow and the next day. Again, every single day we have stuff going on here, 6 p.m. Eastern. Also this weekend, we got the Premier League Finals of Season 1, round of 8 at WCS America. But Demuslim vs. XY going on right now. XY currently up 1-0. Players are ready.
Let's start up game number 2. That was a very, very convincing game by XY. These Chinese guys have just been looking so strong in WCS America so far. I think the first Chinese player to lose has been Maxed, taken out by Illusion. Other than that, they've just been crushing through their opponents. A very impressive play considering so many people were really, saying Demuslim is going to be the next big thing. But he struggled a bit against Maker, and then now he's struggling against XY.
It's definitely doable to come back here, though, for Demuslim. So no reason to count him out here just yet. And here we are. In game number 2, a very important game indeed. In the top left-hand location, I present your Red Terran player representing Team Evil Geniuses in a situation where he must win 2 in a row here to advance on in the Challenger League bracket stage. Defeated Maker in the first round 2-1. Can he come back and win 2 in a row here? He is Demuslim. Opponent in the bottom right-hand location, trying to make a name for himself and for the Chinese scene. The blue Terran player who took out Hello Kitty 2-1 to get to this point, representing Team Invictus Gaming. He is XY. So, what does Demuslim need to change up in this game, or was it just a situation of, as you said, just moving out a little bit too soon?
It's almost similar to, it was a situation, like you said, of just moving out too soon, but it's something that he's struggled with, even against a Maker, the game on Neo Planet S. He lost because he just wasn't keeping track of his opponent's army. He didn't know exactly the composition, and so if you don't know exactly how your opponent's composition is formed, you won't know what timing favors you, when you should be looking for engagement, when you should be playing defensive. And he got punished for it yet again. So it's something he's going to have to just be very, very on top of, knowing exactly where his opponent's army is and his opponent's exact composition as far as ratio, numbers of units, to know the current state of the game. Should I be defensive or offensive? This is a map where it's pretty rare to see mech play because of it's easy to go around the mech army and the mid-game on this map, and the ridges can be defended pretty well by siege tanks. Hellbats are a little bit clumsy on this map. So I think we see Bio versus Bio, and that's a situation where Demuslim is going to be a little bit more happy, because if they're both making the exact same units, it's down to mechanics and micro, and that's where Demuslim really shines.
SCV scout here from XY. Going to see that factory from Demuslim and the timing of that gas, the lack of a second gas. Demuslim not going to be scouting with an SCV here. A little bit of an interesting decision. Or a little interesting development here in this game. One player electing to scout with an SCV, the other one not so much.
XY doing a very similar build to what he did last game, but this time doing it a bit more conventionally. Because he scout with SCV, saw no Reaper, he was free to add on that reactor basically after the second Marine instead of having to wait until 4 because of the Reaper threat. So his build's going to be just a little bit stronger as far as that goes, but of course it's weaker because he scouted, which costs a little bit of economy. And Demuslim did the exact same build he did last game as well, the fast double gas. He added a second gas after he pushed SCV scout away, so XY doesn't know that it's a 2-gas build, but he has to be prepared for that possibility.
Of course, he was he lost a lot of SCVs in the last game, so he actually wasn't that prepared for what Demuslim threw at him. So we'll have to see how he adjusts this game. Again, it came down to like that 6:20 to 6:30 scan timing that XY decided to throw down a second mule. Meaning not only did he miss the scan on the Cloak Banshee tech, but he also didn't have a lot of scans available to actually fight against the invisible Banshees in his base. So we'll have to see if XY can either sneak an SCV in, or if he can decide to throw down that scan. But let's see if he tries to poke up the ramp here. So I think if he gets to the top of that ramp, he can see that.
It's going to be very close. With that many Marines, he's got to be so fast on moving his screen and looking at the exact right location. We see reacting out Hellions this time instead of Widowmines. So that's a little bit of a more, I guess, scouting-oriented opening instead of going for that big drop play. The Hellions can push out across the map. They can poke up the ramp, scout out what his opponent's doing, And of course, then he can focus more on the defensive side instead of putting so many units on that drop play he tried last game.
All right, we're approaching that scan
SCV's coming
timing.
up.
Oh, SCV's
What's this
gonna go up
SCV
there.
gonna scout?
Nothing.
Oh, absolutely nothing.
So now he can scan and see if he does it. There it is.
Oh, beautiful scan there. You see, he even sees the add-ons being built on the barracks and tech lab.
And he's just, yeah. And
Although those add-ons are actually kind of predictable. It's almost always a big reactor factory afterwards, no matter what the Muslims aiming for. So this game, I mean, last game he played so well even after being caught totally off guard by the Cloak Banshee. This game he should be more than prepared. eBay's just finishing up. A Viking is already out. So it's not a situation where the Viking is started when the Banshee hits. It's already done because he didn't get that medevac. He's going to force the Cloak very early. Right now, in fact, the Banshee has the Cloak.
Marines are there. Oh. No scan going down. Going to maneuver towards that natural expansion. Take down one SCV. But again, it's a situation where, you know, his opponent's orbital command is already on the ground, already producing those SUVs. But again, mules can't necessarily be dropped right now because he's saving those scans in case he wants to deal with that Banshee.
And there's a timer on this Banshee. I mean, it's running out of energy. It's going to get second SCV kill there, which is nice. But I think he's saving the scan because he knows the Banshee's almost out of energy. It's not really doing any critical damage right now, so there's no need to burn that scan immediately.
Got some Hellions sneaking up here. These Marines are a little bit vulnerable. Widowmine going to scuttle him self into the ground. Widowmine is in range.
He's able to,
closer to it.
he knows where it is, so he's staying out just outside that target radius. Very heads-up play by XY.
Really cool play. Hellions, again, avoiding the Widowmine. Meanwhile, we have another Banshee approaching. Oh, he's even going to scan to try to take down that Widowmine. Two Marines going to come forward to try to save it, but not going to work. The Banshee from Demuslim going into his opponent's main base. Up to 3 workers killed 4. But the Hellions just doing a great job taking down everything that the Muslim had at the natural.
I mean, this Banshee is doing pretty nice, you know. So the 7 kills, it should escape unless at least a scan will have to be. Is actually a Raven is about to be produced, but not nearly the amount of damage that the Muslim was able to accomplish in the last set. And his expansion has been delayed by those Hellions just by a little bit. So XY has got to be happy with the way this game's going out. He's going to take out that Banshee without having to use the scan.
Another Banshee posturing just outside the natural expansion, but again, a turret is there. I don't see that doing too much damage. And now XY kind of posturing around the map here with a bunch of Hellions. He has some Marines. He's got to be happy with where he stands right now. Income is 34 to 25, actually in favor of the Muslims. So a little bit faulty on the SCV production from XY, but he has a formidable force going across the map.
The Muslim only has 2 Marines in a siege tank. How is he ever going to hope to defend this attack? Well, it looks like
if XY is just scared, I mean,
he would have won the game.
If
he just ran in, it would have been game over. With all the mules, there's literally nothing the Muslim would have done. He would have lost all the SCVs there. It would have been a slaughterhouse. But XY, maybe assuming the Muslim would have more units behind that siege tank.
Instead, he went for a very fast third orbital command. You know, the Muslim taking a huge risk, and looking at the way XY is playing, it might pay off. But I agree 100%. If he had just run in there with the Hellions, like, what protects those SUVs at the natural?
Yeah, the tank and Marines would have just been absolutely executed very quickly. The Muslim would have to give the low ground, would have been a bad situation. But as is, the Muslims doing, again, some nice harass with this Cloak Banshee. It's starting to pay off as the game progresses. And like you mentioned, the third CC was very, very fast by the Muslims, so he has the economic advantage. This game is looking great for him.
Also adding on 2 engineering base, so trying to really focus on the upgrades. But we see, look at this. XY kind of 2-upping the Muslim, adding on 3 command centers.
Wait. Yeah, so he's going up to 5 orbitals.
Yes.
You know what's cool? He's not even worried about siege tanks. He's just going to crank out a lot of Hellions. Maybe he's recognized his opponent is very light on units. And he's going Blue Flame as well. So not focusing on Hellbats like the last game. This game just going for the pure Hellion with Blue Flame upgrade, which is something that we saw some in Wings of Liberty. But in Heartless Swarm, it's very rare to see Terran players really utilize the Blue Flame Hellions.
Now we're at around the point where I'm not sure if Demuslim did he. I don't know if he scouted the Blue Flame upgrade. He definitely knows about the number of Hellions, but we're getting to the stage where you really want to identify exactly what your opponent is doing, so you can obviously react appropriately here. Demuslim coming out with his bio a little bit, and if these Hellions shoot once, I mean the Blue Flame is going to be revealed, but definitely a mech is in store, at least from XY.
And XY is going to have an insane mineral income with 5 orbital commands. This is going to allow him to produce a very high Hellion count. Oh, the Marines taking... This is terrible for XY. He's lost his Raven, but now the Hellions are coming in. They're taking out the Marines.
Sweeping up the Marines very easily. SCVs thought about going to transfer, but said, you know what? There's a lot of Blue Flame Hellions. Never mind. I'm going to back up. Now, 1-1 is about to finish here for Demuslim, and we have our first upgrade started here from XY. Of course, you know, positioning is going to be more important as far as the mech is concerned, rather than the upgrades, but it's still something interesting to consider as far as how powerful Demuslim's army is going to be as this game goes on.
Oh, Hellions coming in here again. There's only a few Marauders. Looks like they're enough to, along with the Land of Vikings, to drive the Hellions out. And Demuslim's been losing some Marines, but killing the Raven and 2 Vikings, I think those units are much more important to XY than 5 or 6 Marines are to Demuslim. He can replace the Marines very easily.
Now, XY immediately taking a 3rd and a 4th here. So this is a situation where Demuslim might need to identify this and provide some aggression, because now XY is the guy who is really, again, focusing on that economy, not necessarily putting a lot of investment into his standing army, just now adding on his 4th and 5th factories. But once these 4 bases get up, and once these 5 factories finish up, or again, we're going to have the situation where XY is just going to be powering out units. So even though Demuslim has that 127 to 91 supply advantage, you know, that's something that he needs to take advantage of in the near future.
He's moving out with a drop right now along the right side. The Hellions should be able to deal with any units that are dropped, but it's going to be the scouting information that's so important to Muslim, realizing his opponent's taking this base.
Going straight for the main base. He might be able to target on some add-ons. Going to go after SCVs probably at first. One singular Hellbat going to be retreating back again. No turrets in his main base either from XY. He's actually going to lift that orbital and move it back to his main. Medevac is going to scoot out of there, though. So very nice harassment there from Demuslim. And look at the supply advantage he's building. 152 to 95. That's exactly what he needed.
XY is still trying to add on all these factories before he can really explode his supply. Just now going up to 6 gases. Needs a lot of reactors to spend all those extra minerals he has. And Demuslim, I think, has recognized his opponent may have just spent too much money on command centers, not enough on additional factories in the early part of the game. He's moving out here. This is a large force from Demuslim.
Yeah. This is pretty scary, of course. XY is going to try to focus on counterattacks, but Demuslim doing a great job walling off his 3rd base and leaving some Marauders there. Reinforcements also going to have to be relied upon to deal with these Hellions. They're going to think about going into the Nash, but changing their mind, backing up. Demuslim also considered going back to defend, but no, he's going to continue surging forward. There are a lot of tanks on the high ground here. Demuslim's going to scan that, and he's going to try to just bypass him and potentially go for his opponent's 3rd.
Drop heading towards the main, but there's enough Viking. Oh, the Vikings don't pay attention. The drop gets into the main base. This is going to be annoying because the Muslim's main force is the real threat, and it's going to try to take down the 3rd base of XY.
One Viking getting taken down. Still plenty of Marines here and a Marauder alive. The Medevac going to get taken out. Meanwhile, Demuslim heading straight for his opponent's 3rd base, trying to take his opponent off guard, but XY getting into position. Both these guys sieging up at the exact same time, but we have a Marauder flank from the right-hand side. Going to start targeting down those tanks and distracting their shots, which means Demuslim is going to take control of this area and start cutting off the reinforcements, even landing the Vikings right around these tanks. And Demuslim with a great position here.
Oh man, this may be it. XY is going to try to stabilize, but he's already lost so many SCVs. Demuslim with a commanding economic advantage. XY with so many orbital commands, but not able to establish enough bases to really get decent gas economy going.
Of course, get enough units out. Demuslim relentless with the drops as well, really just showing how good his multitasking is. Dropping in his opponent's main while proceeding to that position of the 3rd. Speaking of drops, sending 3 Medevacs into his opponent's main base, and this could be the checkmate right here with all these Marines and Marauders. There's the GG from XY. Demuslim takes game number 2 after falling down in game 1. He's going to even up the series 1-1. And what a crazy game that was. A situation where we thought Demuslim was dead when he literally went to a 2nd and a 3rd orbital after going to Cloak Banshees, investing a lot into Banshees, and I think the 2 engineering bays were coming down too. He only, again, like 1 tank and 2 Marines, and XY decided not to go for it. 9
Hellions and 8 Marines.
Yeah, he's like, you know what, I'm going to play it safe, build 3 more orbital commands, but Demuslim able to take advantage of just that little timing he had where he had 3 orbitals. His opponent was trying to get his infrastructure up as his economy was booming, but just a great overall game there from Demuslim.
Beautiful timing here. XY was just desperately trying to crank out units, and Demuslim hit really before he could get a large number of units produced. And with the death of the 3rd base and all the SCVs that were there, it was just curtains. He had the GG.
Yeah, what a fantastic game there in this best of 3, guys. We are now about to get into the decider. It's Demuslim versus XY. They are tied 1-1. The winner of this next game will stay alive in the bracket stage of the WCS America Challenger League. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned.